Well, hi there. Wow, it's been a while. You probably thought you will never see me again. Me too. This is probably the longest that I've been off the booktube, and for good reasons. Like, my life's been a mess. I needed some time to figure it out. So finally that I am a little bit more stable and joyful again, I can do things. How do you like my Christmas tree? I did not have money to buy a Christmas tree, but I had 500 books. So I decided to build this. It took me 2 days. And I thought to record it. But then I was like, well, I'm not doing booktube, like what for I would record it. But I just wanna come in here, chat about what's been going on, update you guys, and just like start making videos again, because I feel the desire to get back into reading, booktube, and all this good jazz. The last time I think I posted a video was in September. It's December 26th right now, so a day after Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. I remember saying in the last video that I'm gonna be doing monthly wrap-ups again, and 4 months later, nothing. Good job, Catherine. Good job. Anyway, in case you're wondering where the heck I've been, I'm gonna update you really quick for those who are interested. If not, skip like 2 seconds forward. I moved to a new place. I'm in an apartment now. I went through divorce. Well, kind of still going through divorce, but just separation and signing divorce papers is stressful. So I kind of been focusing on that, and yeah, just finding myself again. So this has been interesting. That's why I didn't read much. I didn't do anything much, but now, well, everything is great. I have so many cool video ideas in my mind, and I really want to do them. I hope I can stick to making booktube again. For those who missed me, I'm sorry. I missed you too. So let's get into talking about the books that I've read. Spoiler alert, all my book club things that we picked up, there was some Jane Austen, Frankenstein, and some other books, like I've read none of those. So because the majority of my books are in my tree and I can't pull them out yet, I'm just gonna insert the picture, I guess, right here, of the book I'm gonna be talking about. Let's start with They Both Die in the End by Adam Silvera. I meant to read this book since it came out, and it came out in 2017, and I was like, what's holding me back from reading it? It's a YA queer contemporary story. 2 boys who get a message that they're gonna die by the end of 24-hour period, and they don't know each other at the beginning, but they kind of get together and they decide to spend that last day together, and it's kind of just their story of talking about life and death and the meaning of it all. And it was just such an inspirational, cute book that just discusses and touches a lot of topics that is like really interesting to, you know, ponder about sometimes, and also just how their friendship evolves, how their relationship evolves. It's just so cute. I gave it 5 stars. I absolutely loved this book. It was everything I wanted. Then I've read The Final Girls. So all of his books from other booktubers I've heard either hit or miss, and so it's really interesting to like, what will I think about it? I decided to start with his first ever published novel, and I think I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. It's been like a few months since I read it, so I'm not that fresh in the memory of the book, I'm sorry, but I remember liking it. I remember being intrigued, wanted to know what's gonna happen, and was really involved. I think it's a very good beginner-friendly mystery thriller if you want to get into it. Then I read Sadie by Courtney Summers. I actually already read that book with Kalani from Kalani Simply Me. She's also a booktuber and I adore her videos. Her TBR bingo game is so entertaining, and I was so really excited to read this book with her. I think she liked the book much more than I did. I give it 3.5 stars because I had some problems with it, but honestly now thinking about it, I don't think I can recall exactly what was happening in the book. And yeah, the end of the book, I think we both agreed that it was very open-ended. Like, you could have finished the book and be like, okay, so what exactly happened? It was not as clear as I wanted it to be, and I just like hate second-guessing myself because I feel like I can come up with so many endings. But yeah, it was not a really happy book, and it deals with a lot of stuff. There's a lot of trigger warnings, so if you want to get into it, it's great, but there's a lot of stuff. There's abuse, rape, addiction, neglect, I don't know, there's just like a lot of stuff. So look at trigger warnings if you want to get into it. But yeah, 3.5 out of 5 stars. Then I wanted to read some historical fiction. I feel like I haven't read a lot of historical fiction this year. I really want to get my historical fiction collection down because I have so many and I'm so interested into it, but I feel like I have to be in the right mood to read historical fiction. So I picked up Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. I had this book also for a while. I think I bought it in 2017 as well. So hey me, getting to older books, that's really good. I give it 2 stars. I honestly did not like this book and I kind of despised it a little bit. It was intense and it was really like well written, but the facts themselves are not exactly true. Like, I feel like the author of the book did a very bare minimum to research about the topic before writing the book, and being Russian and reading books about World War II, the most thing that I'm focusing on and how well Soviet Union and Russian people are written in the book, and this book misrepresented Russians and just the whole point of World War II so much that it was really offensive to me. Like, I was reading it and I was like, this is pathetic. And this is why I give it such a low rating, is because things that were written in the book, like if you didn't know anything and you read this book, you would have really bad impression about the whole situation and you would be so misguided and misinformed about World War II and what actually was happening. Yeah, I really do not recommend this book. Then I got to reading Mistborn. Honestly, after all of these months getting to read the list of the books that I read, I honestly was surprised. I was like, did I actually read Mistborn? I remember reading the book. I don't remember anything that happened in the book though. You know, Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. It's like people's favorite book. Like, people who are into fantasy and sci-fi, not knowing what the Mistborn is about is a sin. I feel like have read the Mistborn and still not know what's it about is a bigger sin. It says I give it 3 stars. So it must have been just like an average fantasy book that I read and I forgot immediately. All That Solid Melts into Air. Okay, I got this book also in 2017. I was interested into reading this book because it is written by, I think, Irish dude, and it's about the Chernobyl's power explosion that happened in Russia. And I was just interested again what people write about Russia, how clear and realistic and truthful the recollections are. I tried to give it a go and I did not like it. I feel like the writing was one of the problems. Like, it was just like all over the place. Honestly, I couldn't follow the story easily. It follows a lot of characters. I don't know, it's like skips through timelines and it's not actually focusing on the entire event itself and not even the consequences. It's kind of like on the background. It's like somewhere out there. Like, you know that you, in Russia, like the Russian names, right? The characters have Russian names, but they don't behave like Russians. There's nothing that will tell you what actually happened in this book, and I couldn't even finish it. It's 418 pages and I give it 1 star. And I give 1 star only to books which I cannot finish. And I think I went through like most of it. I had like maybe 50 pages left and I was like, I see no point. Like, I'm gonna give it 2 stars if I finish it. Why push myself to read something that is so not well written and push myself? So I ditched it. I don't recommend it. I think I attempted to read Big Little Lies. I also ditched it. I also give it 1 star. I think I got into like 100 pages and I was just not following it. I was like, what's happening? And there's so many women and they all were like the same. Like, I could not distinguish what woman is talking, what mother is talking, whose kid they're talking about. It was just like too many that I was just like, I'm not following. So yeah, after those 2 books, I felt like crap. I was like, I don't want to read ever again. I went to New York also for like 3 days with my friend to renew my Russian passport, and I needed the book to read in an airplane. And Finding Chica was something I really wanted to read this year. It's by Mitch Albom, my favorite author of all time, by the way. And it was such a tiny book that I was like, yeah, I'm taking this one. And I read half of it on the airplane, and when I came back, I finished it. And that was November. I give it 5 stars, of course. It's Mitch Albom. It's fantastic. It's a non-fiction. It's about a girl named Chica. So Mitch Albom's helping in the orphanage in Haiti, and when he went there, It's actually also happened like 2017-16. There was a girl who had a brain tumor, and so they couldn't take care of her back in Haiti, so he brought her to United States and found out that it's a curable tumor. They cannot operate, they cannot really do anything, and so he just took care of that little girl. And I also got an audiobook because I've heard that there's some like extra parts that are not included in an actual book, and boy, I was weeping, okay? He, in the audiobook, which he narrates himself, and I highly recommend, it's a fantastic book, he includes some audio parts of just him talking to Chica, or Chica singing or laughing, or they doing some, spending time together, and it's just so sweet and precious that you get to know this girl so well. The ending is just heartbreaking, but sorry, I'm just getting teary just thinking about it. Like, that book affected me a lot, and I was not okay for days. Yeah, 5 stars. It's one of my favorite books of all time, I'm sure, so I highly recommend you to read Mitch Albom and Finding Chica. Then I decided to pick up Middle Game by Shen Maguire. Gosh. I cannot get over this author. I read 3 books by her this year, and that's, I feel like, the most out of any author I've ever read in 1 year. 3 books by one author? I don't even read that much of Mitch Albom, and he's my favorite author. Not even Frederick Buckman, not even Agatha Christie, not even Stephen King. Shannon Maguire, and I don't know, I don't even vibe with her books. Middle Game. I actually did not know what genre it was. Because I feel like she writes so many genres that I just pick up a book if it gets a lot of hype, and then I find out what it's about. And this is pretty much fantasy. This is fantasy, not high fantasy, which I like. Brother and sister, who I loved how it started with them just being little, finding out about each other, then growing up, and as you know, the book goes on, they get older. I still, like, in the end was like confused, like how old exactly were they? Like the timelines were a little bit. I give it 3 stars because the book was a lot of confusing and very slow. Like, the pacing sometimes felt so off. Like, some things were happening and it was exciting and I was really interested to see, and all the things that were happening was always about the twins, like their relationship growing, their connection growing, some things that they did together. That was fun. But then there was another part which was like a fantasy part of these dudes in another world and how they want to take over the world using the twins and like their master evil plan, and I hated every part of it. I don't know, it was a thick book. Yeah, it was almost 500 pages, and it did feel like it because of the poor pacing, but overall the writing, I guess, was good. I just was not vibing with the whole thing, but I loved the character development. Like, I loved the twins, they were great. Oh my gosh. Next, I read the best book, my new favorite book of all time, my new favorite thriller of all time, The One. The concept is fantastic. It's so fascinating. There's a DNA test that you can take, and it will connect you to one person that you were matched, that you're meant to be for the rest of your life. That's your soulmate, that's your biologically partner. Like, that you cannot beat that. And the book follows, I think, about 5 people, and they're all different, of course. They in different circumstances of different part of the world, just different relationship statuses and just things that they're going through. They're all really different. But I love how this whole concept was explored from different perspectives. Every single story is so exciting. Like, maybe at the first, when you start getting into the book, you were like, okay, this story I like more, or this story I like more, which I was the same way. But then closer to the middle already, I was like rooting for every single one. I was invested in every single one, and I was like, things were happening in every single chapter. Crazy messed up stuff happens, and you just like, this is everything. I wanted to read and finish and get to know like what's gonna happen in the end, but I honestly it was a lot, and sometimes I just had to stop, put the book down. I was like, whew, wow. If you like messed up stuff, if you like a little bit of like raw realness, raw like stuff go wrong, the worst way they can go, this is the book. Or this is the book. Like, if you liked You by Caroline Kepnes, The Kind Worth Killing, those three books are my favorite thrillers of all time. So The One came through, and I'm honestly excited to read more. But John Mars, I don't know if he has anything left. I don't know if he has more out, but I would read anything about this dude now. Like, I'm watching. I have one book that I didn't put in my tree, Radio Silence by Alice Osman, because Kat keeps recommending this to everybody, and it was just like feeling bad. I was like, why am I not listening? If that's something great, why am I just not picking it up? So I did, and I wanted to say, oh, it was amazing, she was so right, and it was such a good book. I think I would like this much more if I was a teenager. Like, no bad stuff I want to say about this book to scare anybody off, but I feel like the younger you are, the more you appreciate the book, because the character is also like in high school going to college, so finishing high school. And me as a 24-year-old, it was a little bit just like childish, you know, the things that they were talking about and stuff, but it was great. I like that this story followed a boy and a girl, and they were not in a relationship. I love that the story brought up some good, you know, discussions about sexuality and just identity. Also, the mom character of the boy, because parents usually in YA books are good parents. Every single YA book that I read, there were good parents in those books, and they were really supportive, understanding, and it's so good to read that they're parents like that, but that's not usually the case, and sometimes parents are wrong and not getting the whole picture, and really judgmental and hurtful, and they're just really toxic to be around. And I like that this book went there and showed one example of that. I give it 3 stars just because, I think 3.5 at this point, because there's a lot of value in this. A lot of things are said. I just wish I got to it sooner. And it's all my fault, of course. If you were like in your 17, like your 16, 17, 18, I feel like you want to read this book, like don't wait, pick it up now before you get to you like 20s and stuff, because then you may not get the full experience. Best American Comics, Belinda Berry, that she edited. And I don't know, I thrifted this book, and there's just different comics, and I was just like, you know what, I don't read enough comics, why don't I check it out? And I did not know I had it until I started building my tree, and I'm like, oh wow, I have this, how interesting. And yeah, since her comics are so easy to read, I marked 2 good ones. There were 2 that I was just like very vibing. One is really dark and very interesting. It's called Burden by Graham Annabelle. I don't know how to show. That's how it looks like. I love the art style. I think it's very cute. That one I loved a lot. And another one is called The Thing About Madeline by Lily Carey. So if you want to check out some good comics, I recommend it. And this is how that one looks. There are 2 good comics in this entire collection, which there's like maybe 30 comics in here, and I connected only with 2. So I guess I cannot give it a high rating, probably 2.5. I'm also in the middle of The Gathering Blue by Louise Lowry. I probably will finish it today or tomorrow. I decided to pick up a self-help book because I really needed it. It's called Get Your Shit Together, How to Stop Worrying About What You Should. Hold on. What you should do so you can finish what you need to do and start doing what you want to do by Sarah Knight. It does have mix-up ratings, so like if you don't like brutally honest opinions, if you don't like swear words, if you don't like serious stuff that's grabbed and explained easily, that's not a book for you. But if you're really struggling with like being on time and managing your money and being a decent person, and if you feel like you're wasting time and you want to make some changes, that's a great book. It gave me some cool ideas, and I think it's really good for people who are literally just living their life with no idea what they're even doing. So I recommend that if you want. And then that's it. That's all the books I read. So the next videos that I'm hoping to do pretty soon is an entire yearly wrap-up of all the books that I've read, and then disassembling this, organizing my new shelves, which you're gonna be seeing. Then I have a book haul a very big book haul. I think the biggest book haul ever done. Keeping in mind that I have 70 plus books book haul with this channel, so I feel like this one will be even bigger, so keep your eyes on that. And then book unhaul, because every year I love getting rid of books, so, but that's gonna happen after I organize my bookshelves, because that's smart. A lot of good stuff coming. I hope you're having good holidays. Yeah, I hope you're excited for the next year. Hopefully it's not gonna suck as much as this one. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next one. Bye!